matter how good you are, if you stay for too long, you spoil it. A good dancer must know when to leave the stage. These are the exact words of Pierre Lumumba, one of the greatest African orator that still lives. This happens everywhere, down to our diverse villages. The sit down tight syndrome amongst African leaders are so high. The topmost among them being Paul Biya, the president of Cameroon, that despite his age at 93, is still out contesting for the presidency from the sick bay. If you are an avid follower of African politics, you will know that during the just concluded election and even prior to that, during the campaign, the man was nowhere to be seen. What was used to campaign for him was a kind of a puppet. You know that the type that Barcelona uses in Camp Nou those days? Exactly. But in this case, the image of Paul Biya was made, and he was the one waving, and some gullible and foolish Cameroonians were hailing the stupidity that was being displayed before their very own eye. Now, I dare to ask you, is Cameroon actually running a gerontocratic society where it is only the elderly, the oldest people in the society that determines the future of the youth? From the presidency to the president of the Senate to the Chief Justice at Tangana, these are men above 90s. I think Atangana and Paul Biya are virtually the same. They are age mates, I think so. Now, a president who have ruled a country for basically 43 years, I bet you some of you were not yet born when that man became the president of Cameroon. I grew up in Cameroon, and for how many years I've just been hearing Paul Biya all along. Only him is good enough to rule a whole Cameroon, a country that is vast or filled with human resources. You talk about natural resources. Cameroon refers to themselves as Africa in miniature, because basically everything you can find everywhere in Africa is found in some fraction in Cameroon. Talk about mineral resources, talk about natural resources, talk about agricultural. The country is so rich in material and human resources for an old man to actually hold that country down for 43 years, and he's still in power. Now there is a video I will show you here where the chief judge was busy. Okay, the video is here now. You see.
Je suis content que vous réjouissiez à la fois du travail fait par votre père et la victoire de votre candidat.
See, the chief judge of a whole country was busy celebrating the victory of a man on the sick bay down there in Switzerland. That goes to tell you how our people reason. Now, I will congratulate the young les jeunes Cameroonais who have actually come out in their masses, and they are organizing a protest. Yes, the time for liberation of the Cameroonians is here. It's not tomorrow. If you do not take power away from these men now, it can never happen again. And then what you will see is that they've already made a succession plan in a situation whereby probably a cousin or the son of Paul Biya will take over from Paul Biya in case of his demise. That is, Cameroon is running a presidential a monarchical presidential system. All right, it's a kind of a monarchy already, because since this man chased away the first president of Cameroon, it might shock you. Paul Biya is the second president of Cameroon after Amadou Ahidjo. Amadou Ahidjo was tricked out of the country for Paul Biya to take over power, and then he has been there. That sit tight syndrome among African people have not allowed him to leave the seat of power. Even on his sick bay, he still rules Cameroon with his group of friends and family, allies, and royalists. All right? Kudos to the young Cameroonians who are outside there protesting. And then as you rejoice down here in Nigeria, because an injustice to one is an injustice to all. Now, if you are rejoicing here in Nigeria over the protest, yes, it's very welcomed idea. Yes, we must rejoice with them, because for the first time, Cameroonians are rising up to the occasion. Because growing up in Cameroon, I know say Cameroonian na fear people than be. The two they fear. If you raise a needle, a Cameroonian will run out of the door as if you're wielding a gun. And now, as I was saying, if you are rejoicing here, go back to your villages and then make sure you remove even those who have that same sit tight syndrome in your diverse womana, in your diverse town unions. This nature of an African must never be allowed to actually come to the fore. And that is why I always give credit to somebody like Nelson Mandela, that despite all the fight he fought for South Africa, he knew when to step down. Because as P.L. Lumumba said, a dancer must know when to leave the stage. If you stay on the stage for too long, you spoil it.